of Ducks and Pebbles, Chapter 4 of the book, Betel Nuts and Other Stories by Simeon G. Silverio, Jr. Simeon must have been 6 years old then. It was a long time ago. He remembered he was big enough to walk long distances. If he was 6, his elder sister, Nee, must have been 8, and their eldest brother, Buddy, must have been 10 years old. They were each 2 years apart in age. His younger sister, Mila, must have been 4, and their brother, Sonny, must have been 2 years old. Willie and Greg, their 2 younger siblings, must have not been born at that time. It must have been the year 1954 in their neighborhood in Pepin, Sampaloc, Manila in the Philippines, where Simeon was born in 1947. He doesn't know where Mila and Sonny were then. He remembered they were alone in the house, he, Nee, and Buddy. Their mother must have gone somewhere, while their father was at work in his printing press in Quiapo, Manila. Buddy was responsible and older, so their mother trusted him to watch the younger children. At that time, they lived in a neighborhood together with their maternal relatives. Their maternal grandparents, Grandpa Ambo and Grandma Abby, lived across the street with their youngest daughter, Aunt Lydia. The family of their Chuling, his mom's younger sister, lived on a house on the right facing their grandparents' house. On its left was the house of their Aunt Della, while next to it were the houses of their Uncle Tino, his mom's younger brother, their house, and that of their Auntie Monang, his mom's eldest sister. They had plenty of playmates then, all their cousins plus some neighborhood children. Their playground was the street, and they had a variety of games to play. They had no television to occupy the day and no video games or computers to divert their attention. But they never got bored. Early that afternoon, Simeon's brother Buddy had a plan. One of his classmates invited him to visit his house in Balintawak and see his pet ducks and the pen he built for them. Their mother would surely not let them go there by themselves. The only way they could do so was to go without her permission. Since she was out of the house on an errand that afternoon, it would be easy for her children to sneak out without her knowledge. By the time she comes back, she would not notice their absence and would assume they were just playing somewhere in the neighborhood. No one knew about their escapade except their cousin, Annette, who saw them leaving. "Let me go with you," she asked them. But Buddy must have thought an extra ward would be too much of a burden for him. Simeon had a feeling Buddy would rather go by himself, but since his sister and brother were not old enough to be left alone, he was forced to bring them along. They could see Annette was pretty mad for being left behind. But what could she do? She is just their cousin, not a sibling. The walk to Balintawak was long, maybe about 5 miles. It was a suburb of Manila then, just outside the boundary of the city. It was the farthest walk Simeon had taken at that time. Before, the longest walk he took was around the block with his cousins, which was seldom. From Pepin Street, they turned right on Laong Lan and walked about 20 to 25 blocks, maybe 30. Once they reached the boundary of Manila and Quezon City, they saw the neighborhood of Buddy's classmate in the rural area of Balintawak. There were plenty of trees and wide open spaces. Today, that part of the city, La Loma, is full of lechon, roast pig, restaurants, buildings, and residential houses with jeepneys plying regularly along A. Bonifacio Road, which separates the Manila North Cemetery from the commercial and residential areas. But the long walk was worth it. They saw the duck pen of Buddy's classmate under a tree a bit removed from the house. It was big, about the size of a room, with a small fence around it. There was a small shed where the ducks could take shelter during rainstorms, and there was a big pond where they could swim all day. During that time, ducklings were sold as pets by vendors outside of schools and in the public markets. Simeon would buy one, play with it, and treat it like a pet until it died about a week later. When he was about 3 years old, he had a pet duckling that used to follow him around the house. One day, it managed to get outside and go under their house. He never saw it again. His father said a rat must have eaten it. They were enjoying their visit to the duck farm so much that they had stayed longer than they had planned. They worried their mother would get mad at them. To allay their fears, his brother's friend told them to put pebbles in their pockets for good luck. "They will save you from trouble," he assured them. They were worried their mother might notice their absence. And they were right. As soon as they reached their house, their angry mother, who was so upset with their transgression, confronted them. They saw some of their cousins looking at them with elation. Annette, who told their mom about their misdeed, was smirking and sticking out her tongue at them. "Good for you," she said as they passed by her. "You did not take me along." Their mom told them to lie face down on the floor, and one by one, she spanked the three with a slipper on their buttocks. Their cousins were peering through the window from the outside enjoying the show. "Go upstairs," their mother yelled at them, "and stay there." They quietly followed her orders like guilty felons and stayed by the window. They saw their cousins happily playing outside, including Annette, who looked up to them and once again stuck out her tongue. Then they felt the pebbles in their pockets. By instinct, they threw the pebbles one by one at their cousin Annette, the Judas. She tried to avoid being hit as she called their mom. "Auntie Itche, Buddy, Nay, and Simeon are throwing stones at me." The pebbles might not have saved them from trouble all right, but they certainly found a good use for them. And that closes the book on this matter. Subscribe to this channel to listen to more enjoyable stories like this. This is episode 4 of the YouTube channel, Our Life and Times audiobooks. Betel Nuts and Other Stories is published by Papyrus Books with email address papyrusbooks@yahoo.com. To order a copy of the book, go to amazon.com and enter the name of the author, Simeon Silverio, in the browser. Press set it.